Welcome to another edition of the Dan McShane Coaches Show here on WBCB. Coach McShane, thanks for making some time with us, or for us, here for the show. Congratulations on the win.
Yeah, it took a long time coming, but as they say, a win is a win is a win. So,
well, a win is a win is a win, but this particular victory had a nail-biting finish, was nip and tuck all the way to the end. You guys kind of held them at arm's length for much of the game.
Yeah, we really felt good about the first half, and we were in control and both sides of the ball. And then it just got real. They changed their game plan a little bit in the second half, and we felt like they couldn't stop us. But we had some trouble stopping them, obviously.
The Falcons getting their first win of the year over CB East, 35-34. We'll talk a little bit more about the game and some of the details there. But we talked during another Dan McShane Coaches Show about processing a loss, taking 24 hours and then putting that into the rearview mirror. Same kind of situation with a win?
Yeah, live and learn. I think one of the greatest things we learned was we've been preaching again, do your job. I mean, the last play of the game ended up just a real it wasn't a heroic play, but in the end it was just somebody doing their simple job.
Doing a job and fighting for the football, and that play came from Nate Scott. On the radio, I think I attributed the interception to Zach Wales, who also got credit in the paper and everything, but it was Nate Scott who joined us for the Coaches Roundtable show, was one of our guests there, and talked about that play. I mean, he just fought for that football. It looked like he had his hands on it. The intended receiver had hands on the football too, and he just made a play on the ball.
He really did. I mean, it looked like the receiver was pretty big guy, physical, and kind of had a pretty good position on the ball. And I think he had it really early, and then Nathan just finished the play.
Looked like you guys had that game pretty much put away when Brad Mickles scored a touchdown with about 7.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. You guys went up 35-21 at that point, but CB East, they kept fighting back. Anything to say about just finishing out games and how you guys let it get a little bit too close?
Yeah, I mean, we were still playing hard as always, but we weren't playing very smart, and they gave us a little bit of a change up in their scheme and had us kind of on our heels, and they were throwing the ball a lot, and the quarterback runs, and it seemed like the clock was taking forever to wind down.
You guys get the victory, though, 35-34. It doesn't matter what the score is. It goes into the win column, and now you get ready to start Suburban One League national action as you'll be taking on the Council Rock North Indians tonight. Talk a little bit about that matchup. A couple of years ago, the Indians, they kind of snuck up and got you with a victory on their home field, and that must still be kind of a recent memory for you.
Yeah, I've often said it's one of my most bitter losses ever in all my years of coaching. We felt like we were a better football team and just didn't get the job done. It just goes to show you, obviously, you got to show up and play.
Just you don't need another reminder of that loss here on the show. Sorry to remind you of that one, but it does. Again, you're going to be back there playing at their home field, and they're certainly not going to take you guys lightly.
No, I mean, we taught our kids. I mean, to a team in their position, trying to build their program after a couple of years of being down. I mean, the schools like Pennsbury are their Super Bowl, so we're going to expect their best effort, and obviously we can't fall asleep on it.
So last week, CB East got a touchdown to get to within a point. They lined up to go for the extra point, and instead of trying to kick it, the quarterback pulled the football up, threw it into the end zone. That's where Nate Scott made the play, made the interception, ultimately winning the game for Pennsbury after you guys got the football, able to get a first down and use up the rest of the game clock. But what were you thinking on the sideline when you saw them line up for the extra point, and what did you expect to happen? Take us through that play. What did you think when the guy who was placing the football down picked it up and threw it to the end zone?
They do a lot of different things on special teams, and so earlier in the game they had lined up in multiple formations down the goal line, the typical referred to as muddle huddle type of thing, and we'll work on it every Friday, over our goal line, field goal block situations, and my initial gut was they didn't line up and act like they were going to get into that formation. They got right out of the huddle and got on the ball, and I thought, they're just trying to sucker us on this one, and so I was yelling fake right away, and we're pretty much man-to-man, and just, get your eyes down, get your eyes on your man, just make sure the ball doesn't go in his stomach, and that's what Nathan did.
And again, fought for the football, able to make the individual effort that made the difference in that game, and that must be part of how you got to coach those guys up. You have to instill some competitiveness. I mean, how do you do that from a coach's perspective as far as drills, or just to you looking for guys with fight that's already in them, or do you kind of put that in some of your players?
If you're close enough to our sideline on a game night, maybe you're up in the press box, you may hear me, but I constantly am yelling, finish. We talk about, the play's not over and finish it, whether you're an offensive lineman blocking. We tell them most guys block for 4 seconds, you need to block for 6. Or put the ball carrier on his back and finish the play. Or in Nathan's situation, the ball's still in the competitive spot, go get it and finish the play.
I got finished games right here on my notes for the show, and that is something where you guys not only looking to finish plays, but looking to finish games and finish opponents and continue to improve each week. How about the injury perspective? How you guys look from guys that are available? It didn't look like you lost anybody last week.
No, I mean, it's one of the every night at right to the game, I go to our trainer, does a great job, Shan Barrett, and I just said, how we looking? He said, good, we had a cramp. I think maybe one of our defensive ends went down with a cramp, and it's more serious when you're on the field, but we've all had cramps. We know how kind of painful they can put the look on your face.
Yeah, that'll put a hurting on you for sure.
Yeah.
But besides some minor injuries, you guys fairly healthy. Always like to check in about that.
I think maybe our warrior Josh Boyda has been kind of hobbling around. He's doing a little bit of everything for us, and we're just trying to get him to game night at this point.
Well, I was able to learn a little more about Josh Boyda at the Coaches Roundtable show. He was our guest there, and they mentioned the fact that he had a broken femur in 2017, and just a little bit about his physical recovery from that injury and how far he's been able to come. Remarkable effort just to get onto the field, and then what he's been able to do for you guys, his versatility. We talked about how you line him up in a bunch of different places, use him in a lot of different ways, and just kind of a remarkable story. Gave me a different perspective on Josh Boyda, meeting him on Wednesday night.
Yeah, he's a great kid, and he's super competitive, likes to trash talk a lot. If you say you can't, he'll say he can, and obviously he's proved that with his injury, and he battled that, and he'll battle through this. We think he's got a minor little thing, but we love him, and he's becoming as a junior. It's funny, we've had him since the 9th grade, so I feel like he's a senior. He's actually only a junior, but he's really done a good job establishing leadership role in the team too.
And mention that we also were able to meet Nathan Scott, made the big play in the end zone. Very humble guy, a nice young man, and was, just really pleased that he was able to make the play. He let me off the hook for getting his name wrong, which I appreciated.
Yeah, again, Nathan, we love him. He's a great program kid. We for years now we were trying to find a position for him. I mean, he's real downhill, and he's aggressive, and he's intelligent, and is he? You saw his body type. I mean, we're like, is he a secondary guy? Is he an inside linebacker? We like to have guys that play fast, and he does that for sure.
All right, so tonight it's the Council Rock North Indians and the Pennsbury Falcons here on WBCB. Indians coming in with a 1-3 mark, same as you. 0-1 in the league. We'll talk about tonight's game and a little bit more about last week's action, as well as we continue with the Dan McShane Show here on WBCB. Right back with more after this.
The ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute is redefining care in Center City and South Jersey. And our 50,000 square foot location on ARIA Health's Bucks campus in Langhorne features private rooms, free parking, and nearby hotels. With over a century of experience, the world-class 3Bs, Doctors Booth, Bartolozzi, Balderston, and their partners personally guide you from treatment through recovery. For all your orthopedic needs, call 1-888-ORTHO-3B or visit aria3bortho.org. At the ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute, you come first.
If you are looking for a car, where do you go? Faulkner Auto Group at 4427 Street Road in Trevose is where to go for the best deals in Bucks County for all your new pre-owned cars, trucks, or SUVs. Go to Faulkner Auto Group. It's always Faulkner, to be sure. Go online to faulknerautogroup.com. Just remember, it's Faulkner, to be sure, for all your new cars or trucks. 4427 Street Road in Trevose. Faulkner, to be sure.
Hi, Merrill Reese to tell you about our good friends at the Revere Ristorante Italiano in nearby Ewing Township at 802 River Road. I can tell you that from South Philadelphia to New York's Mulberry Street, there's no better Italian cuisine than that served at the Revere. Start your meal with one of their great appetizers or salads. Entrees include outstanding veal dishes, fresh seafood daily, excellent steaks and chops, homemade pasta dishes, daily specials, and much more. You can also enjoy their bar area, where on most weekends, entertainment is offered. The Revere also does off-premise catering and can accommodate private parties for any affair, including business functions. Call the Revere Ristorante Italiano for more information and reservations at 609-882-6365, 882-6365. The Revere Ristorante Italiano open Monday through Friday for lunch and 7 days for dinner at 802 River Road, right off the Wilbertha Road exit on Route 29 in nearby Ewing Township.
Don't forget, if you miss any of your local high school sports action, you can read all about it in tomorrow's edition of the Trentonian. For your complete local and national news 7 days a week, it's the Trentonian, or online at thetrentonian.com. The only newspaper serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer County 7 days a week, it's the Trentonian.
Tonight, the Pennsbury Falcons take on the Council Rock North Indians, an away game for Pennsbury, so you guys are going to get on the bus and go out and match wits with Coach McHugh. Talk a little bit about Coach McHugh and just about kind of the coaching brotherhood, or if there is a network locally where you guys interact with each other, sometimes able to rely on each other for some information, and until it becomes game week.
Yeah, well,
Then it's all serious.
Yeah, I mean, the first interaction I had with Coach McHugh, we were interviewing for the current job, the Pennsbury football job, and so and we kind of picked each other's brains on who they saw come in, who went out, and any potential questions to be asked and things like that. And as recently as like 2 weeks ago, when he was trying to gather some recon on the situation down at Penwood and what's it like to play down there, the locker situation, things like that, and we've exchanged some. He's a young coach, and I've been doing this for a long time, and I was very fortunate when I was a young coach to be able to pull some of information out of some really good coaches. So I'm glad to help, and he's done a good job. It's up there. It's a tough spot. They've been down for a couple of years, so you got to kind of take some lumps, and he's done a good job with it.
To talk about Coach McHugh as far as his approach, does it reflect yours a little bit as far as how he runs the offense?
Well, outside of X's and O's, I think his approach is a lot like ours in that he's going to hold people accountable and be responsible, and so that came through very clearly in my conversations with him. The X's and O's will. He's more of an option guy, and we're more of a spread team, and so we differ there. We differ a little bit, pretty significantly on the defensive side of the ball too. They're a little more vanilla. We're a little more multiple.
Tonight, maybe an opportunity for your defense to get some confidence. You guys have had some up and down games. Even last week you get the win, but they were able to come charging back and make it a close game in the end. The Indians, 14 points versus in their first game, shut out at Penwood in like half a game, and 14 points against Neshaminy, but the Skins were way out in front when they were able to score those touchdowns. You think this may be an opportunity on the defensive side of the ball to shore things up for you guys and come together in a certain respect?
We're due.
And there's kind of a need for that too, right?
Going forward, we're going to see some, again, more dynamic type of teams, but we got Council Rock North in front of us, and I'm a defensive guy at heart, and so there's a very high level of comfort I have when we're playing solid defense. I'm not very comfortable lately. We're just giving up big plays, and we played a pretty good half. They hit one kind of gadget play early on us after a muff punt, but otherwise we had them pretty much locked down. And that's I don't care if we score 7 points. Coach Bell would care. He's running the offense, but to me, if they don't score, they can't win. So it's a great sense of confidence that I have when we're playing really good defense.
Well, one of the things that happened last week was that they changed their approach, and it looked like they were throwing the football a little bit more in the second half. Anything that you guys saw when you look back at the tape to say, we can do a better job and maybe give our guys, a little bit more of a plan for success?
For sure. And our basic, problem was poor communication. They come out in empty sets. We have empty checks. Most teams think when you're in empty, you're going to throw the ball, but they actually would motion guys back in and run the ball, and a quarterback got involved in the run game too. I think he might have had two long runs for touchdowns or whatever. But, we just didn't like. I told the guys, you need to confirm with your peers out on the field what's going on coverage-wise. And so, they're out there, and I said the band's, banging away, and the cheerleaders was cheering. And I said, you can't just yell. We had to have, visual signals that this is the coverage we're in. And we kind of, we kind of blew a couple coverages, and when they threw the ball, and then, when they ran it too, we just missed some run fits also.
I mean, is that a big part of what you guys do from week to week, as far as like this week of practice, looking at some different signals, how you guys are going to relay plays in, whether it's on the offensive side of the football or on the defensive side of the football, making sure you change things up, keep it fresh, keep the opponents kind of off balance a little bit?
Yeah, well, it's funny you should ask. We told our kids again, we want to have signals for, like say for example they're in empty, and we'll have a signal that means, we're going to sack it, and or we're going to max drop it, and those are your two basic choices: drop a lot of guys or rush a lot of guys. And so, and you can play somewhere in between too. We've done all three, but some of the signals that some of the players have come up with for those terms are very unique, I'll say, and we got to sometimes clean them up.
So,
but if it works in their head, sometimes you just want to roll with it,
Who's out there on the field? I mean, sometimes some of those things are getting relayed from the sideline. Sometimes those are getting relayed from guys that are actually out there reading keys.
Right.
Who's on the field that usually is communicating and trying to pass that along?
Yeah, great question. We don't do anything from the sideline. I mean, it's all like we trust our kids to play system football on defense. So we'll have a kid out there who's responsible to identify pass strength, and then we'll have somebody identify. And we always say we don't want too many Chiefs, not enough. I mean, too many Chiefs, not enough Indians. Your job is this. Your job is identify pass strength. Your job is identify where the tight ends lined up at. And that's the run strength typically. Your job is identify the one back check, and then we have a guy who identifies empty back check. So it's. But sometimes the message gets kind of like muddled, and so we can remind guys it's not your job, this is your job.
So you want to avoid some miscommunication, but you really need to make sure that those guys are kind of, there's a lot of responsibility for your team to recognize what the other team is planning on doing and then to alter their approach.
I mean, we have a guy, I always make the joke, I say your job is from now to the time they enshrine you in Canton, Ohio, is to identify unbalanced formations. And we have a system for that. There's nothing memorization, but it's principles, it's philosophies. So I think when you teach those principles, concepts, whatever, the memorization is not as critical.
To get back to Council Rock North, you mentioned an option attack. They have some big backs, kind of some power runners. Anything you see there where you may want to load the box a little bit more and try to force them to pass, try to put them into situations where they are going to maybe feel like they want to pass the football?
Yeah, it's most high school offenses in general run oriented. If you did the stats and all that, but we're seeing more and more. It's like we're balanced on offense. The Chamonix balanced on offense. Obviously, CB East was. They have a plan B if you load the box. So again, you got to be diverse, and we feel like typically like option teams spend a lot of time running options. So if you had to, as we use the term, statistical concession, every defense takes away some things and it gives away others. What are you willing to give up? And then, of course, if they start going that way too heavily, then you got to be able to adjust.
Right. So, I mean, I guess then the other part of that question is they do have some deep threats. You want to make sure that those guys just don't get behind you, avoid some big plays. That's been something that you guys have been working on throughout the season.
Yeah, again, heavy run-oriented offenses. If they're well coordinated, they're going to put the ball in somebody's belly one time and pull it out and try to throw the ball behind you. So.
Council Rock North and the Pennsbury Falcons getting set to do battle here on WBCB. We're with you for the Dan McShane Coaches Show, and we're going to step aside. We'll be right back. Going to talk about some individual players on both sides of the football for the Pennsbury Falcons that you're going to be seeing and hearing about tonight on WBCB when we come right back.
The Gator, Jerry Blavitt here, to tell you to tune us in every weekday afternoon from 3 to 5 p.m. right here at WBCB 1490 AM and throughout the world at WBCB1490.com. And it's brought to you by the Italian People Bakery and the deli at 63 Butler Street in the Chambersburg section of Trenton, and also in Levittown at Woodburn and Oxford Valley Roads, and where all baking is done on the premises at both stores.
Peruzzi Nissan is the home of the 3495 Pennsylvania State Inspection and Admission, and is your full-service automotive facility for all makes and models, regardless of where you purchased your car. Air conditioner tune-up for just $79.95 at Peruzzi Nissan. Buy 3 tires at Peruzzi Nissan and get the 4th one free, plus free alignment checks. Have your car looking showroom new with a value detail package for just $64.95 and a full detail package for only $179.95. Peruzzi Nissan Service, Business Route 1, Fairless Hills, where our business is you.
Achieving what you want demands the right game plan. When you team up with PNC, you get the tools and know-how you need to get where you want to go. Whether it's buying a new home, sending your kids off to college, or retiring the way you want, PNC is here ready to help you achieve your financial goals. To discover all the ways PNC can help, stop by any branch or visit PNC.com. PNC for the achiever in you. PNC Bank, member FDIC. Hi, this is Merrill Reese, and since 1986, McCaffrey's Supermarket has been a real supermarket experience and a very proud member of our community. Through good times and bad times, Jim McCaffrey and his family have been there to assist our neighbors when they needed help, whether it's helping flood victims, raising funds for the American Cancer Society, or supporting the local Little League teams. You can count on McCaffrey's to be there. McCaffrey Supermarkets, 635 Heacock Road in Yardley in the village of Newtown, at 2890 South Eagle Road, and also in Princeton and West Windsor.
Welcome back to the Dan McShane Coaches Show here on WBCB. Pennsbury taking on Council Rock North tonight as both teams look to improve on their 1-3 record, and Pennsbury looks to get their first Suburban 1 League national win in their first SOL national game. And you guys now get into league play, and you still have to kind of take it week by week, though. But you look down the road a little bit, you see this win must really lift you guys as far as just looking at the season, how things are going to unfold, and kind of, gives you more opportunity maybe to get into the playoffs, and long season left. You kind of can leave that pre-league part of the season behind.
Yeah, it still says 1-3, but we realize that what's in front of us, and you look at it and you go, okay, where are we playing at, home, away? What style of offense and defense are we going to see? Then you look at the big rivalry at the back end of the schedule. It's hard to not look at that. But there's a lot of work to be done in front of us.
And we're really settling into the high school football season here on WBCB, and I know each team and program now getting into league play. And as we get ready for tonight's game, seems like you guys have really found something in Eddie Dualu. It wasn't a big part of maybe what you were expecting in game number 1, but now we get into game 5. Nice to see Javon McNeil also get a couple touchdowns and get into the mix last week, and now you guys seem to have that three-headed monster, 3 different running backs, Brad Mickles, Javon McNeil, and Eddie Dualu, that all have had some success in this first part of the season.
Yeah, Eddie's been a great surprise addition. Come over from Father Judge. Coach McKay spoke very highly of him, real high character kid. I just see how small those kids are. I'm like, oh man, please just don't get broken in half, put the ball, and more importantly, put the ball on the ground. But it's a nice combination. To this day, I still have no idea how they sub those guys in. I'm just a head coach. What do I know?
At the skill positions, though, you guys do have a lot of depth. You look at your receivers. Jason Cook had a touchdown reception again last week, almost won our WBCB Play of the Week. Make sure you vote next week for your favorite Play of the Week at WBCBsports.com. But, that was a hookup Henser to Cook, but you also have Sean Miles, Jake Chipper, Andrew Hammerker can catch the football. It seems like he's just waiting to get going. A lot of guys who you're trying to mix in and include in what you're doing this year.
Yeah, it's nice to have weapons. I know that our kids are finally getting into the mode of they understand the ball can go anywhere to anybody. Well, we could have a run on and it turns into a pass, and it turns into a pass to maybe 3 different type of guys out there. So it's they're working hard on that, and we're trying to find somebody who's going to run through the secondary every now and then.
Well, and I know you guys like the size and the strength of your offensive and defensive line. Talk about those units, how they've come together now. We're well into the high school football season. What do you see there, positives and maybe some minuses as far as what you all need to work on?
Gosh, I mean, on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, I feel extremely confident. I mean, we haven't had massive numbers of rushing yards and gains, but I've always felt like we can get positive plays every down. We're not taking tackle for losses. They've been outstanding in pass protection. We have based on the number of times we throw in the ball, we have very limited number of sacks. On the defensive side of the ball, I think we've got some explosive players over there. We move a lot, and and they're creating some issues for you. I mean, nobody's really run the ball against us other than like an explosive run that we just came out of nowhere. Nobody's consistently moved the ball on us. So.
Yeah, it's been big plays, but not consistent gains for any of your opponents. And special teams feel pretty good on both sides of the football. I mean, things seem to be coming together for this team. This Council Rock North game is a big one for you. I mean, I was mentioning it on Wednesday. Every game on the high school football season, you don't have that many opportunities, so you get to put the pads on, put the helmet on, and if the juices aren't flowing, then you might need to try another sport, because this is it. This is
I mean, I've seen a couple of basketballs being dribbled around at school, but otherwise it's football season.
I mean, the atmosphere gets hype.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you see one of those nice moons sitting up there on a clear night. You're like, all right, and then before you know it, Halloween will be here. But you mentioned special teams. I mean, we had a major special team snafu right before half, and we snapped the ball back, hit one of our shield guys' shoulder pads, and kind of like a deflection shot in hockey. The punter kind of scrambled, and our defense went out. And really, it might have been one of the extremely key series of that game. I mean, they scored there, and they think they got the ball on like our 15-yard line or something like that. So the defense came up really big. So I forgot to add that, but yeah, special teams for the most part has been solid.
All right, the Pennsbury Falcons looking for win 2 here on the season. Coach, again, thanks for making some time for us for the Dan McShane Coaches Show on WBCB. Best of luck here to you and the Falcons tonight as you take on the Indians of Council Rock North. The game is coming up here on WBCB. We got a beautiful night and a great weekend.
Finally.
For high school football, right? Yeah, we can get some nice weather.
We ran out of ball dry, that solution. We put the balls in, you shake, and it dries the ball. We ran out of it, so we had a new order in, but otherwise, footballs too, we're running low on.
Looks like we don't need any of that for this weekend. Going to be beautiful out there, and looking forward to the game. Thanks so much for being with us for the Dan McShane Coaches Show here on WBCB. Stay tuned for Pennsbury High School football now on your station in Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties.